Hey everyone, it's Angel again. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for watching my channel and welcome back. For today's video, I just want to do a flip through of the very first junk journal that I ever made. I made it, I want to say a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago, and I made it out of a cookie box. And I filmed a couple of videos working in it, and so if you want to check that out, I will put the link in the description below. But yeah, it's taken me a while to like really consider this like finished, although I mean I could probably still, well actually not probably, I could definitely still do some work in it, but I am ready to consider it finished. Like, it's, to me, it's finished. And I originally was planning to give this to my husband when it was finished, because after I made this and he saw what I was doing, he got really intrigued. And so he asked me to wrap it up when I was finished and give it to him for Christmas. And I ended up, I think because, somebody asked me for it, it kind of made me feel like, okay, so I'm making this art for him. And it was like, even though I know everything that I do, he's going to think is wonderful, because he's always loved my art. It just made me feel like the stuff that I was doing and putting in here was needed to be like pleasing, for him. And so that kind of made it really difficult for me to feel free in this junk journal. So I sort of scrapped it for a little while. And then I ended up making a different junk journal that I ended up giving to him instead of this one. And I'll put the link to that flip through in the description below also. But let me just jump right into it before I continue talking. So like I said, this is just a cookie box. And then I Mod Podged some coffee filters over it. Anytime I had scrap paper or like leftover doily, I just Mod Podged it on top, because I didn't like the paint that I put down on there, because I was putting like leftover paint on top, and so it was just like that awful blue that I don't like. And then I put paint over this Liquitex Iridescent Bright Gold. I'm almost running out and I gotta get some more. This is a Project Life journal card. I don't really like them, like the ones that I have, but I liked this one, and so I cut it in half, and it's just Distress ink. I don't know. I like how messy it looks. So yeah. So here we go. Let's go. Let's get into it. So and I've done a flip through of this before, but at the time I wasn't considering this finished. But yeah, like I said, I consider this finished. So made this owl because around the time that I made this, I was hearing an owl at nighttime, and I heard it for so long, and it was such a beautiful sound and like such a nice thing to hear at night. And so I just imagined what that owl looked like, and made a tree, and I even made, like, I don't know if you can see, but I sort of kind of made it 3D, the pine tree. So here's the envelope when you flip it over. I don't have anything on this. So yeah. This one I'm sure I did a video of, and like every time I open it, like sequins fall out or glitter, and I just love that. When I was little, my best friend and I were like huge Madonna fans. I mean, we still are. We were so in love with Madonna. And so this page kind of just like represents my best friend and kind of my childhood. And I like these, I've always liked these photos of Debbie Harry, lead singer of Blondie, who's going to be in Dallas, I think in the fall, and my husband and I might go to that concert. I don't know. We're thinking about it. So yeah. This page, I was experimenting with some yarn. A friend of mine, an Instagram friend of mine, sent me a big box of fibers and yarns and just some really, really, really pretty fibers. And I glued it onto I originally glued it onto these pages, and then when I came back to it, I was like, that looks like a carpet. So I just Mod Podged some coffee filters over it, which kind of gave it this really cool texture. And then I glued over my these look like cherry blossoms to me. But I glued over them, and then I wrote down my husband and my two puppies' names. So yeah. This page, if you recognize this little envelope here and this Neiman Marcus tag, I just made this in the last video, and then I showed you this. I got this from an Ethan Allen like photo book catalog. So yeah. Also, you'll recognize this page or this tag if you saw my last video, because I made this tag in my last video and glued it in. This page is like unfinished. It's kind of like a blah 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 page. But I like it nonetheless. I really do love this journal. So this page I did on camera, and it's dedicated to how much I love tea. There used to be something in this pocket, but I don't know where it is. It must have fell out. And this was supposed to be glued in, and now it's come off, so I gotta put it I gotta put it back in. Maybe I should put it here instead, since that's plastic. So then I made this little tag out of a tag that says tea in French, thé. I love this. This is a watercolor that I did, and then I poked a hole and put this little tea tag. It's my favorite tea, Mighty Leaf, Peach Orchard or White Orchard, and then so it flips up. And I made this sort of like a flip up shaker. So yeah, and then in the background, these are all like my teas that I was drinking at the time. This page is dedicated to the evening bat. So every evening when my husband and I would take the dogs for a good walk, we would see and hear these little bats. They're like that big, and they used to scare me, but then I just kind of got used to them. They eat the bugs, so they're anything that eats bugs, especially since I'm always getting bit by mosquitoes and getting stung by yellow flies and stuff like that. But I haven't seen any in Texas. I don't think they have them here. I don't know. And then this is a Tim Holtz stamp. Left this blank in case I wanted to write something on it, but of course I never did. So yeah, just scrappity doos and a couple of tags. So I wrote that down for my husband to see if he ever comes in here and goes in this little book. I'm sure he will. Oh, and then I wrote, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. So, this says I be wed because, like I said, this was originally supposed to be for my husband, and I may still very well just go ahead and give it to him since he did ask me for this one. But I'm sure I'm sure I've told you guys this before, but my husband's first language is not English. He grew up in French Canada, in Quebec. So his first language is French, and he didn't speak English until a lot later on in his life. And so when we got married, when you do the vows and you say, I, Angel, or I, with this ring, I thee wed, you should say, I thee wed. So he didn't quite understand, what we had we had a justice of the peace because we eloped. I'll tell you guys about that one day too. But we, like I said, we had a justice of the peace, and so when we were exchanging rings, and you're supposed to say I thee wed, he didn't understand, and he said I be wed, and so I always tease him about that. I mean, it does kind of mean the same thing, actually. So yeah, I got this cute little thing out of a children's book. This is from an adult coloring book, and colored pencils. This page I did on camera, and I really love it. If you didn't see that video, basically this page was inspired by a really pushy, nosy, know-it-all kind of woman that had been getting on my nerves at the dog park, basically telling me that my dogs were not well trained and that I needed to be more rough with them and stuff like that. And if you know anything about my dogs, they are so well behaved. I mean, first of all, they're Jack Russells, and anyone who has a terrier knows that terriers, especially Jack Russells, are very, very difficult to train. And so being well behaved, it's kind of, you know, relative. But my dogs listen. Like, my dogs listen to me. They're very well behaved. I mean, if you look at their Instagram, you'll see they're so well behaved, and I mean, they're wonderful. And so she was basically telling me that my dogs were aggressive, or my male dog was aggressive, and you know, that I needed to do this and I needed to do that, and just being really, really nosy and pushy, and not just regarding my dogs, but just in general. And I don't take it personally when people do that, because if they're doing that to me, then they probably do it to everyone. But it was just really, she was getting on my nerves. One day I did eventually, like, kind of tell her where to go, but before I did, this was just kind of my way of, like, dealing with the frustration of dealing with her. And so I drew her, and that doesn't really look like her, but that represents her. And so, you know, you should really blah, 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 more unasked for uninformed bad advice in a bossy, authoritative tone. You're going about that all wrong, blah, blah, unasked for advice in extremely personal questions, blah, blah, more pushy, unasked for advice. And so this is me. And, like, I mean, and a lot of us do this, so you know how, you know, when somebody's doing that to you, usually, especially we as women, because, you know, we're taught that we're supposed to be people pleasers. Bleh. That was a puke sound, if you didn't know. So here's me, you know, like, oh, I'm okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, But really, in my mind, I'm thinking, or I can continue to do whatever the fuck I want, since that's what I was going to do anyway, you know? So probably didn't really need to explain that, but this is probably my favorite page ever, because it really does represent who I am, which is, I'm like, you know, I think people think because I'm small and I smile a lot that they can push me around, and, you know, for the most part, I kind of let that happen until I lose my cool, which is what I did with this woman. I pretty much told her where to go. So then I wrote the date on that. So yeah, I really love this page. And then, so Junky Junk. Junky Junk. So this is a bunch of stuff that I bought for my dogs. And then some Jack Russells. This was from this is unfinished, but I'm gonna leave it like that. So just a couple things from some Christmas cards that I got from my aunt. She sent me all of her Christmas cards instead of throwing them away, which is great because now I can use it in my future Christmas journal. And then so I wrote Felix Navidad because I was making fun of my husband again, because I think that's what he thought that they were saying, because I heard him say Felix Navidad, and I was like, are you talking about Feliz Navidad, that song? I love making fun of my husband. And then I wrote, I love you. So yeah, another blah 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 page that I like. I do like the colors on this. And then one page dedicated to my faith, or lack thereof sometimes. And so this is, I think somebody knocked on the door like and gave this to me, or left it on my doorstep, like a little mini Bible. And then these are some little, what are these called? My mom had a Filipino word, or took a word in Tagalog for them. So I just kind of stapled them in here. This is a photo, that beautiful, iconic Christ the Redeemer. And I just, if I could only go to one place in all of South America, it would be that one place, just because it's so beautiful. Such a beautiful, beautiful place. And I've never been there, and maybe someday. So I put that there, like that. And this, I also think that I got this from my mom, which I think it's pretty. It's a prayer for mothers. And then I wrote down this verse, which is probably one of my favorite things in the Bible. I'm not like a Bible thumper, or like read the Bible like, every day. I'm certainly not as much as I would like to, but this is my favorite. This is my favorite Bible story, which is, well, I won't tell you the whole story because it's a long story, but somebody says this to Jesus, I believe, help me with my disbelief, because I think sometimes it's easy to believe, but when you doubt, it's I don't know, it speaks to me. And then some pages that I punched out, and it said I believe, so that was perfect. And then another little page where I wrote down the date. I made like a little window, and I don't know what this is, like some plastic from like one of those envelopes with a window in it. I took off the plastic and then made like a little a window pane. Wrote down the date, September 20, 2016, and I wrote, it does not feel like the first day of fall, because it was hot. So yeah, and some, I don't know what this is, probably from some clothes, my clothing my husband bought. Some stamping, some scrap paper. Oh, this is funny. I kind of made this little, I don't even think this is a tag or an embellishment. It's just kind of whatever. And I wrote down that I locked us out because my husband thought that I brought my house keys. We went shopping, so I made these out of the tags, out of the stuff that I bought. But the night that we went shopping, I accidentally locked us out of the house, and we had to call a locksmith. And they told us on the phone it was only going to cost like $40, and ended up costing $140. So yeah. And then a little tag that I made, and then I wrote down that's mine and my husband's anniversary, the day that we got married, and we got married in St. Augustine in a little garden at City Hall. So yeah, and then I wrote, don't be a scaredy cat. So another blah 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 page. This is actually representative of my husband too. So basically, I was making fun of my husband just about in this entire junk journal, because he's always snacking. He's always eating things, eating chips, eating fruit, eating in between every meal. He's still eating, and he's constantly snacking, and he never gains any weight. The lucky guy. So I'm always making fun of him, or pretending to be a little squirrel, eating a nut. And so yeah. So I think this is from some chocolate that he sent me for Valentine's Day, or our anniversary. He had delivered, and then we didn't have Bisou yet, and so he just signed him and Mouser. So yeah, and then this is actually like a little funny little watercolor that I had planned to do of my grandpa on his tractor at the farm. And I couldn't do it because it was always making me cry looking at that picture, you know, looking at my grandpa so happy and missing them so much. And so I never finished it, and then I eventually did, even though it's like just like a little cutesy little thing. It's not like a serious thing. And I didn't go into detail of his face. I just gave him a happy face. So yeah, and I put down this little tuck spot. These are some flowers that we got for the front yard here. Did this tag on camera in my very last video. Thought this was the perfect place to put it. I think so. I think it goes really well there. Some owls. So this looks unfinished, but it's finished to me because I decided I was finished. I don't even know what to say about this. Oh, I stole this card from the library. So I got some library books back when I was doing this page, and I returned one of the books without a card in it. I should have asked them if they had some more, right? So then I have like a bunch of movie tickets from movies that I've seen with my husband. I just stuck them in there in that piece of film tuck spot that I made. Like mail, junk mail. Oh, I like this. So this was leftover scrap paper from the third tag, the summer tag that I made. And then I put this tea bag in here and this tea in it. So I put the tea in a tea bag. If I can put it back in there. Yeah. So unfinished page, but it's fine to me the way it is. Miami. I think I was hoping to go on a vacation to Miami at the time I did this page. And so this is I think this is the last like finished page. Yeah. So here's a tag that I made with my initial, and I think I donated a little bit of money to Habitat for Humanity, and then they sent me this little thing in the mail as a thank you. So yeah, and then I just put that as a little charm on the tag. And so this is from September 18, 2016. We saw Bijou fearless in the water today. She lost her third canine tooth, so she was still a little baby. And then so this is from a magazine, and it says flower bomb, and I don't like the word bomb, so I just stapled this piece of lace over it. So yeah, so that's the end of my flip through. And I really love this journal, and I'm ready to just put this away and put it on, put it in the living room on the shelf, just like that, so that my husband and I can look through it or enjoy it whenever we want to. Because it's the very, very first one, and it's like, it kind of sparked my love, for making junk journals and making, collage art and gluing things down and just kind of being free and being in that wonderful childlike place that, that art brings me to. And so I hope you like it. And yeah. So please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. I love comments. And I will see you again in the very next video. Until then, go out and do something or make something that makes you happy and brings you joy in your life. Take care of yourself, and I will see you again really, really soon. Bye.